Hello there, Scorpio. Welcome to Dragon Tail Tarot. My name is Ariel. This is Mr. Fire Dragon here, and we are here to welcome you to your Saturn Direct reading for September 18th, 2019. This is going to be a really interesting reading. These have already been really amazing, actually, with a lot of breakthrough kind of energy coming through for all the signs. And so the planet Saturn is what's been going retrograde for the last 5 months, and now it's going to be going back into direct motion. So I'm going to get into teaching you a little bit about the astrology of this, and then we're also going to do a full oracle and tarot reading for past, present, and future around this movement of energy. All right, so before we get started, just a few general notes. Come on, Dragon, let's lay it on them. This is a general reading, so it will not resonate with every single Scorpio out there. If these messages do resonate with you, then they're meant for you. If they do not resonate with you, kick them on out the door. Give them to another Scorpio. This is going to mostly correspond with Scorpio's Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, but if you also have a predominance of Scorpio planets in your chart, it will definitely speak to you as well. And all Scorpio cross-watchers are welcome to join us here too. While you're thinking about it, reach on out there, click that subscribe button for us so you don't miss any future videos, and also give it that dragon claw up by clicking the like button and let us know that you enjoyed this video. Alright, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into it. So the planet that's coming up for review, and yes, it is connected to your ruling planet of Pluto, and I'll tell you why. This is going to be Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and right now Saturn is traveling in that natural sign. So it definitely makes that Saturnine energy stronger and more obvious to everybody. It will not be back in that sign of Capricorn until another 30 years or so, give or take, because it takes 2.5 years in each sign, and that's how long it takes to go all the way through round or zodiac wheel. So we can't really talk about Saturn without talking about Pluto as well. And Pluto is your ruling planet, Scorpio. So this has a lot of significance for you personally. Pluto, of course, deals with life and death and rebirth, sexuality, psychology, mysteries, secrets, things that are hidden, and this is your guy. And it's also been in the sign of Capricorn since 2007. It's at 20 degrees of Capricorn right now, getting ready to also go direct on October 3rd. So look for a video from me about that as well as we get closer to it, because this has a lot of impact on all of us. So as that starts to move through, it deals with your third house universally. It's going to be different for your personal chart, but for the universal Scorpio chart, Saturn and Pluto are both moving through your third house, and that is the Gemini house. So Saturn deals with structure. It deals with lessons, usually very hard lessons that have to be learned. It also deals with karma and like what you put out coming back to you, whether it's good or bad, you know, that's what you bring back. It also deals with time. Saturn, the figure of Saturn itself looks like Father Time, you know, the old man with the scythe. It's really very much about timing. And so, you know, Saturn requires a lot of patience. It's about laying solid foundations, making sure that things are lasting and resilient. And if something doesn't last, like a relationship or a job or just whatever the situation under a transit of Saturn, it wasn't meant to be. That's simple as that. It's, you know, if you have something come up and like, you know, Saturn's transiting, especially relationship house, career house, etc., there can always be the potential for that sort of breakdown, because one of the symbols that is often attributed to Scorpio energy or Saturn energy is that, you know, kind of breaking it down, you know, Phoenix from the ashes, definitely. And so you may feel this way. With Saturn especially moving through that third house of Gemini, your thoughts are really being challenged. The way that you think, the way that you communicate, the way that you interact with other people, on that basic, you know, premise of just, you know, putting out your ideas and seeing what comes back to you. It's also about the way you collect information, so that can also be changing as well. You may be leaving behind old patterns of thought that don't serve you anymore. If you've noticed that one way of thinking or doing things isn't getting you where you would like to be, you really have to pull in and go, okay, I need to rethink that. Especially if you say or think a lot of negative things about yourself or others, it's like that kind of comes back to you in ways that are not very fun. And so if you change up that way of thinking and instead start putting out very positive thoughts, very positive actions, intentions towards yourself and others, that starts to come back to you. It's funny, Cal, one of the things that's attributed to Scorpio is a sense of vengeance, or, kind of wanting to get back at people when they really do you wrong. The more enlightened Scorpios are definitely not that way, but there are Scorpios that are very vengeful. And so, there is that sort of thing with Saturn, being kind of that karmic time lord that sort of says, you know what, if somebody didn't do you so right, Scorpio, don't worry. We got your back. Things are gonna be okay for you. Don't worry about them. Let the universe handle this. And it really comes out so much better when you take that into consideration. So this has definitely been a very intense last 5 months, with both Saturn and your ruling planet Scorpio both traveling together in that conjunction backwards through the sign of Saturn. So you've had to do a lot of restructuring, a lot of rebuilding, a lot of review. It's like, okay, go back and think this over, go back and heal some things from the past. And now that we're coming up to it, both going back into the return pattern, oh, it's going to be so much better. It's going to feel like finally, the wheels got unstuck from the mud in the car. The vehicle is finally moving forward again. So let's go ahead and start by, I brought out some of my tuning forks. I do sound therapy, and these are actually tuned to the frequencies of the planet. So I have one for Saturn, one for Pluto. So these are very low tones. I know that they may not come across sonically real well through the camera speaker, but I'm going to do them anyway because these definitely charge up and align those frequencies with you and me and this reading. So let's go ahead and sound. We'll start with Saturn and then for Pluto. These are very low because these guys are further out in space. Yeah, they're very low. You put your ears right up to them, oh, you hear this nice deep hum. Interesting. I would also call Saturn and Pluto or kind of the heavies. They're the heavier energy planets, really, when it comes to astrology, because they deal so much with, those very foundational, very deep-rooted subjects of the psyche and the soul, and maturity, and really learning to know thyself, which is very Scorpio, very Pluto is know thyself, understand where you come from. So yeah, very, very interesting. I jokingly sometimes call Saturn and Pluto gloom and doom. Don't take that literally, but I jokingly call it that because, Saturn says you're going to get what's coming to you, and Pluto says, and you're going to deserve it. Because they understand. They do understand what goes around comes around, and that is very true, actually. What goes around comes around. They understand cause and effect really, really well. All right, guys, so let's start out. I'm going to do a past, present, future column for your card reading. We'll get into some tarot and see what comes out on the intuitive level with all of this energy. Dear angels, dear divine beings of light, guardians and ancestors, helpers and healers, please be with the Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising sign of Scorpio as we do the reading for Saturn direct, September 18th, going for past, present, and future around this vibration. Please protect their energy as well as mine and bring through clear, accurate messages for their highest good. Thank you. Ooh, so yes. Oh, Scorpio. So the first card that comes out for the immediate past column, this would be for the last 5 months. This says a sacrifice card. So what can you let go of. This is, like I said, it's purging and releasing and turning loose of things that haven't served you well, especially when it comes to the mind and your thoughts. Funny enough, look at what comes up next for the present moment as we turn direct with Saturn. Flash over, it's all in your head, which is all about, like I said, with the Gemini mind and thought. It's really important under that card to say, you know, what is just me thinking very negatively, or what is it that, you know, is truly real thought or a real truth, and let go all of the other stuff that just isn't the best information. It also is an interesting card because to me, like I said about the phoenix from the ashes, it almost looks like that phoenix arising, you know, out of her mind, and then coming into the future is the Fergon card, which has become a loving mirror. So it's like, look at yourself, mirror yourself back to yourself, because say, you know, am I being the most loving to myself? Am I being the most kind? Like I said, in my thoughts and what I think about myself, what do I tell myself? What the affirmations do I put out there mentally that end up mirroring my reality? So very, very strong affirmations and confirmations of what your astrological patterns are with this. So let's pull some astrology cards under this and see what happens. We're just going to keep deepening up this message here. Yes. All right, so Scorpio underneath that past position of what can you release, what can you let go of, is the lunar eclipse, and that is all about change. That's all about what you're going to release. Anytime a lunar eclipse comes up, it's always about releasing. And because we've had lunar and solar eclipses going back and forth in that third house as well, because they've been in Cancer and Capricorn, it's actually triggering that same house that Saturn is going direct in for you. So yeah, this is all about changing your mind patterns, changing your thought behaviors. So underneath the flashover, it's all in your head, is the 10th house, which is the World card. So that is Capricorn energy. So Scorpio, I would say that what's very interesting there is when you start to change your thoughts and your mental patterns for the better, it has a very public effect on you, because Capricorn in the 10th house, that's all about your public image. That's about your higher career, the motivations, the stronger, bigger goals and ambitions and, you know, dreams that you have for the future. And so becoming the loving mirror, that brings up the North Node card about life's purpose. So this has a very big ramification on you. And Scorpio, another thing that I would say is that after Saturn gets done aspecting your universal third house, it will be moving to the 4th house, which is the Cancer house. And that's an incredibly important transit of Saturn. So you're actually preparing right now mentally, emotionally, you're getting those thoughts in line. And the more positive and the more productive and progressive your thoughts are going into that, the better. So really over this next year, year and a half, you're really changing your thoughts and changing and attuning and aligning to your life's purpose more, and saying, what is it that I really want to do? What is it that I'm truly here for? Very, very beautiful. So let's pull some tarot and just keep deepening. We're just going to keep going to these past, present, future columns and just adding on to these. Oh boy. Yeah, you've definitely come through some large cycles here already, Scorpio. So the Star card comes underneath that lunar change and release and letting go, because the Star is all about balance of heaven and earth. It's a very Aquarian card, so to me it always brings in that quality of liberation and freedom. And so freeing yourself from limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, all that kind of thing is really, really important. And then let's go ahead and clarify. I'm going to clarify that Star card. And here comes your own energy, Scorpio, over top of that star with the death and transformation card. Very, very beautiful. This is one of my favorite cards in this particular deck. The artwork is just gorgeous. There's that phoenix from the ashes arising out of the mind, the sword that cuts through illusion, breaking the chains of restriction. So there is a lot of freedom in here for you, but definitely you've had to turn loose some really, really big stuff to get to this point of really like enlightenment and transformation. So then in the present moment, here comes the Hierophant card, very Taurus energy, very grounded, very rooted, very stable. And so this is also you making those very spiritual commitments to yourself going forward. It's like this is you saying, you know, I really want to kind of make my mark on the world. But not out of an egotistical place. It's coming out of a spiritual place that you really might even join in a partnership to create this sort of balance. Let's go ahead and clarify the Hierophant, see where he's going, what kind of energy he's bringing forward for you. Ooh, yes, and so very fascinating. I love this, Scorpio. So in that same present column of the 10th house, which is the world, you also brought up the 10 of cups, of pentacles, sorry, which is the We Are the World card. This is all connected. So you're actually coming to a really, really beautiful, more stable, more balanced, all those wishes coming true kind of feeling. And really, you know, going into the future, that's a very strong theme as well, because another 10 card comes up on the life's purpose, which is that 10 of Wands. That one always indicates to me that there's been, you know, a lot of battle, a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenge, and that you're finally coming to the end of that cycle. Over this next 7 months, you'll definitely feel that as well. So just pay attention for that as you know, mirror yourself, look at your own truth, say what kind of reflection do I want to project out onto the world by looking within. So let's clarify that 10 of Wands, please. Yes, and this, I mean, these are very intense cards. So on top of the 10 of Wands, there comes that Tower. So this is really like a massive clearing away, Scorpio. This is really giving birth to, you know, just absolutely eradicating anything that's not for your highest good, anything that's not for your higher purpose, and just being very, very unflinching and unafraid to look deep within, pull back the layers, you know, look very deeply at who you are inside so that you can really cleanse, purge, purify, and get in a great place going forward. So let's pull 3 major arcana to just bring some extra advice to the end of this reading. Ooh, so there, oh, so absolutely beautiful message. On top of that death and transformation and the star comes the Sun card. So you've really learned a lot of things, Scorpio, in the last 5 months. This has been a very powerful time indeed. And so then over top of the We Are the World, you've got the Star card again. So you're in a really good place right now going forward. Very, very good. And at the for the future, for the outcome, the High Priestess comes up over top of that Tower, over top of that 10 of Wands, which are more difficult, more challenging, you know, because what this really gets to is, you know, you start with that pattern of needing to look within, going into that mirror and really looking deep. And she is the one that knows and understands what's beneath the surface. And you really come into your spiritual and intuitive power by through the end of this cycle. So this is a very beautiful reading, Scorpio. A lot of power, a lot of transformation, absolutely par for the course for you. But this is definitely something that is coming your way, and I really like the way that that is looking for you for now and the past and this next 7 months. So I will be seeing you guys really soon again. Have a wonderful week, day, month, etc., and take care. Bye bye.